All right, so today let's dive into something I bet most people don't think too much about.
Okay.
Commercial locksmithing.
Interesting.
It's one of those things you probably encounter it every single day.
Yeah.
You just don't realize it.
Right.
Um, but it's the invisible force that keeps businesses safe. It keeps their valuable stuff safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's not just about keys and deadbolts anymore, is it?
No, not at all. It's gone way beyond that. We're talking about a fusion of physical security and digital intelligence,
Oh, wow.
creating a multi-layered approach that's becoming increasingly fascinating.
So this source I have here dives into integrated access control,
Mm-hmm.
which honestly sounds a bit like something out of a spy movie.
Yeah.
Can you break that down for us a little bit? What's the real-world impact?
Well, think of it this way. You walk up to your office building, but instead of fumbling for keys,
Yeah.
you use your fingerprint or even your smartphone to get in. And while you're doing that, the business owner can monitor everything remotely, even tweaking permissions on the fly. That's integrated access control in action.
So it's like the building itself is working with the security system
Yeah.
instead of just being a static barrier.
Exactly, yeah. And the real game changer is how this impacts sensitive areas. Imagine a server room or a research lab. These integrated systems can require both a key card and a biometric scan, making unauthorized access that much harder.
Right.
It's about layering those security measures.
Now that you mention it, this source also talks about data-driven security.
Mhm.
Is this where AI comes in? Is it watching our every move?
Well, it's not quite Big Brother,
Okay.
but it's definitely getting smarter. These systems can track who is coming and going looking for anything unusual. Let's say someone tries to access a restricted area multiple times outside of their typical schedule.
Yeah.
The system can flag that as a potential threat and alert security personnel immediately.
Wow, so it's like having a digital detective constantly on the lookout for suspicious behavior. So we've got the high-tech side covered, but what about good old-fashioned physical locks? Are those becoming obsolete in this new world?
Not at all. High security locks are more crucial than ever, especially for areas that need that extra layer of protection. We're talking bank vaults, government facilities,
Right.
places where physical security is paramount. These locks are built to withstand drilling, picking, and all sorts of sophisticated break-in techniques.
So even if someone manages to bypass the digital security, they still have to contend with these incredibly robust physical barriers. What makes these high-security locks so special?
Well, they're designed with patented key control, meaning you can't just walk into any shop and get a copy made. Access is tightly controlled, and the keys themselves are incredibly difficult to duplicate. It adds a significant layer of protection.
Speaking of controlled access, this source I have here mentions government facilities and compliance audits. Is there a connection there?
Absolutely. Many industries, especially those dealing with sensitive data like healthcare, finance, and government, have strict regulations regarding security. Locksmiths play a vital role in helping businesses meet those standards.
So they're not just installing locks anymore. They're becoming security consultants, ensuring businesses comply with all the regulations.
That's right. They can perform audits, recommend specific solutions, and ensure everything is up to code. Whether it's a HEPA for healthcare or PCI DSS for financial data, they're helping businesses navigate the complexities of compliance.
It makes sense. You wouldn't want to be the business that gets hit with a massive fine because your security wasn't up to par. But here's something I've been wondering about. Businesses are always growing and changing. How does commercial locksmithing adapt to those evolving needs?
That's where scalable solutions come in. Think of it like building blocks. You can start with a basic system and add components as your needs change.
So a small business might begin with a simple key card system, and as they expand, they can integrate biometrics or cloud-based management without having to start from scratch.
Precisely. And cloud-based platforms are a game changer for businesses with multiple locations. They can manage everything remotely, adjusting access levels and monitoring activity across all their sites from a single interface.
That's incredible. That's super efficient. It sounds like commercial locksmithing is moving beyond just locks and becoming more about creating adaptable security ecosystems.
You hit the nail on the head. It's about blending physical security with digital intelligence, and that's what makes this field so fascinating.
We've covered a lot of ground here, from high-tech access control to the importance of compliance. What stands out to you as the most significant takeaway so far?
What's really fascinating to me is how locksmiths are transforming into security advisors,
Yeah.
integrating traditional skills with cutting-edge technology to create these comprehensive solutions. It's really impressive.
Yeah, it's not just about keeping people out anymore. It's about intelligently managing access to protect assets, data, and people in a world that's constantly changing.
Absolutely. And that brings up a really intriguing question. What other industries or aspects of our lives could benefit from this integrated approach to security?
That's something to ponder, for sure. We'll be back in a moment to continue our deep dive into the world of commercial locksmithing and access control. So we were just talking about how commercial locksmithing is evolving to create these adaptable security ecosystems.
Right.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is. And one of the most interesting developments in this area is the use of biometrics.
Yep.
It's not just science fiction anymore. We're seeing it implemented in real-world settings.
Right. The source I have here mentions fingerprint scanners, facial recognition, even iris scanning.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like something straight out of a spy thriller.
It does, doesn't it? But these technologies are becoming increasingly common, especially in environments where security is paramount.
Yeah.
And they've come a long way in terms of accuracy and security.
So how do these systems actually work? I mean, I've seen movies where people bypass fingerprint scanners with things like gummy bears. Can they really be that easily fooled?
Well, modern biometric systems are much more sophisticated than that. Take fingerprint scanners, for example. They don't just look at the surface pattern of your finger.
Right.
They analyze the unique characteristics of your pores and even the way your finger conducts electricity.
So it's analyzing multiple data points to verify your identity, not just matching a simple image.
Exactly. And facial recognition has advanced significantly, too. It uses algorithms to map the unique geometry of your face, taking into account things like the distance between your eyes, the shape of your nose, and even the contours of your cheekbones.
So it's more about recognizing the three-dimensional structure of your face, not just a two-dimensional photo.
That's right. And then there's iris scanning, which is considered one of the most secure biometric methods because each person's iris has a unique pattern, even more distinctive than a fingerprint.
It all sounds incredibly secure, but what about privacy concerns? Are these systems storing our biometric data?
Right.
I know that's something a lot of people are worried about.
It's a valid concern. The way data is handled depends on the specific system and the company that implements it. Some systems store encrypted templates of your biometric data, while others just use it for real-time verification without storing it permanently.
So transparency is key.
Yeah.
People need to understand how their data is being used.
Absolutely. But despite these concerns, the benefits of biometrics in terms of both security and convenience are significant.
Yeah, no more lost keys or forgotten passwords.
Right.
Speaking of convenience, this source I have here also mentions something called mobile credentials.
Uh-huh.
Is that where people use their smartphones to unlock doors?
That's right. It uses near-field communication, or NFC technology, which is the same technology you use for contactless payments with your phone.
Right.
Your smartphone emits a radio signal that a compatible reader at the door can pick up.
So it's secure, but is it safe to rely on a phone for access control? What if you lose your phone or it gets stolen?
That's where cloud-based management comes into play.
Okay.
If you lose your phone, you can instantly deactivate its access credentials from any device connected to the cloud. And just like with contactless payments, mobile credentials are much more secure than traditional keys because they can't be easily duplicated.
It seems like a win-win for both security and user experience.
It is, but with all these advancements, you might be wondering if traditional keys are on their way out.
I was just thinking that. Are they becoming obsolete?
Not necessarily. They still have their place, especially in certain applications and as a backup option.
Right.
It's not about replacing one technology with another.
Yeah.
It's about choosing the right combination of solutions to meet specific security needs.
So it's more about having a toolbox of options and knowing which tools to use in which situations.
Precisely. And that's where the expertise of a commercial locksmith becomes invaluable. They can assess your unique requirements, recommend the best mix of solutions, and ensure seamless integration.
They're becoming security architects, designing and implementing these complex systems.
That's right.
It's amazing how much the industry has evolved.
It really is. And as technology continues to advance, the role of the commercial locksmith will only become more critical.
We've talked a lot about how technology is enhancing security, but are there any potential risks or vulnerabilities associated with these new technologies? I mean, nothing is foolproof, right?
You're absolutely right. No system is entirely foolproof. And as these systems become more reliant on software and networks, they also become potential targets for cyber attacks.
So instead of picking a lock, someone could try to hack into the system to gain access.
Exactly. That's why it's crucial for businesses to choose security providers that prioritize cybersecurity and implement strong security measures like encryption and multi-factor authentication.
So it's not just about the physical security of the locks and hardware. It's also about protecting the digital infrastructure that controls them. What about system failures? What happens if there's a power outage or a software glitch?
That's another important consideration. You don't want to be locked out of your own business because of a technical issue. That's why it's crucial to have backup systems in place, such as traditional keys or manual overrides, so you can still access your property in an emergency.
It's all about finding that balance between embracing technology and having safeguards in place for those just-in-case scenarios.
Absolutely. And we can't forget about the human element. Human error can also pose a risk.
You mean like someone accidentally granting access to the wrong person or misconfiguring the system?
Exactly. That's why proper training and clear protocols are essential for anyone who manages or uses these systems.
So it's not as simple as installing a fancy new system and calling it a day. It requires ongoing management training and attention to detail.
It does, but the good news is that commercial locksmiths are becoming increasingly skilled at addressing these challenges. They're evolving alongside the technology, becoming more like security consultants who can guide businesses through the complexities of modern access control.
So for the average business owner or manager, what are some key takeaways they should keep in mind when it comes to commercial locksmithing and access control?
I think the most important takeaway is that security is an ongoing process, not a one-time fix. It's about constantly evaluating your needs, staying informed about new technologies and threats, and working with trusted professionals to adapt your security strategies.
It's about being proactive and staying ahead of the curve.
Precisely. And don't be afraid to ask questions if you're unsure about something, whether it's a technical detail or a security protocol. Reach out to an expert for guidance. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to protecting your business.
Well said, security is an investment, not an expense. It's about protecting your assets, your data, and most importantly, your people.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today exploring the world of commercial locksmithing and access control. It's a fascinating field that's constantly evolving, blending traditional skills with cutting-edge technology.
It's been a pleasure diving deep into this topic with you.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found this episode informative and insightful. If you're interested in learning more about commercial locksmithing or access control, we encourage you to do your own research and reach out to reputable professionals in your area. Until next time, stay curious and stay secure.